Hi VC, this is Chris. I'm back to do another Gimme 10 that's outside of the regular range of years. This is going to be 1969, and if I get ambitious enough, it'll be split up into three parts, a folk, sort of, a keyboard-oriented Gimme 10, and then just rock, I guess. But I'll start out and do the folk-oriented one now. I just finished watching Ben Costello's History of Irish and English Folk, 5 parts that he's done so far. And even though I'm a year late watching them, but finally saw that, and it was interesting. I'd like to do something, except I don't know enough about all of them to do all the talking and the film work. But anyway, this is made me want to get around to doing this. So in nod to Ben Costello, these first two here are related to his videos that he did. Fairport Convention was touched upon in one volume or one episode. So here's Liege and Leaf, Fairport Convention. Good thing about this album, it still has Sandy Denny on vocals, so that's a big plus. And then he mentioned this album, but didn't have a copy of it, so Bert Jantz's Birthday Blues on the Transatlantic label. So thanks to Ben for his series. Now the other 10 related in 1969 that are folk-oriented. First one is kind of a bluegrass group, Jim and Jesse, saluting the Louvin brothers. This is on Epic label. The Louvin brothers did something similar in their albums in the 50s and early 60s. They did a salute to the Delmore brothers. So everybody, these groups like to acknowledge previous groups that went before them. So this is a lot of vocals and bluegrass instrumentation on this. So like the Louvin brothers, that was a brother duo with close vocal harmonies. And the next one is Sandy Bull, E Pluribus Unum. This is on Vanguard label. This is pretty much Sandy Bull doing most of the instrumentation. 2 long tracks, one on each side. So sort of folk, progressive, instrumental. Then Mason Proffit, Wanted. Picture of 2 Hanged Men, which is a song, a regional hit song for them. This is on the Happy Tiger label. Folk rock. They did, this is I think their second album. They did several more through the early 70s, and then they went on to do some, the 2 brothers, Talbot brothers, were the main singers and songwriters. And so they went on and formed their own band and eventually moved into contemporary Christian music. Next one, Roy Harper, Folkjokeopus. This is Roy Harper doing most everything. This is on World Pacific label. Then Jaime Brockett, Remembering the Wind and the Rain. So this is, or maybe that's Jaime. Jaime Brockett doing most of the instrumentation also on this. And he's got one long song on side 2, Legend of the USS Titanic, which is kind of a hyper guitar and talking blues or something. And then Flying Buritto Brothers, Gilded Palace of Sin. This is their first album, the peak of their output. This is on A&M Records. Graham Parsons, you see him in the white nudie suit there. And he did all of the, well, he had a hand in writing all of the songs and almost all the ones that are originals. There's 2 covers, Do Right Woman and Dark End of the Street. All the rest of them, Graham Parsons helped write. Got some real classics on there. Christine's Tune, Hot Burrito 1, Hot Burrito 2. Real classic album. And then another classic album, Sir Douglas Quintet, Mendocino, which the title song is big hit. They redo She's About a Mover, which was one of their earlier ones. This is on the Smash label. They did several more albums, and Doug Somm went on to do some records under his own name, all Tex-Mex, country rock, country blues. Very good. Then Dillard and Clark, The Fantastic Expedition of Dillard and Clark. So this is Gene Clark after the Byrds, Doug Dillard from the Dillards, bluegrass band. So they put together this album, which is on A&M. It's got some very good Gene Clark written songs in a country rock, bluegrass vein. So good. Then an odd one, Earth Opera, American Eagle Tragedy, Great American Eagle Tragedy. This is their second album. It's got Peter Rowan and David Grisman, which are both bluegrass guys, but this is more a progressive folk album, I guess, on Elektra. So it doesn't really sound like what you would expect David Grisman and Peter Rowan to do afterwards. And then we end up with Mason Williams, Music. He'd already done his classical gas song, which he was most famous for probably. This is on Warner Brothers. This one has a similar composition to Classical Gas. He does Green Sleeves. He's a guitarist. He's also a comedy writer. He was featured on Smothers Brothers and Glenn Campbell. Sort of like John Hartford, who was also on some of those shows, but John Hartford was a banjo player versus this Mason Williams is a guitar player. So there's 10 folk country-ish albums for 1969. So thanks everyone. Talk to you later.